This is the story of a person whom everyone doubted would ever be successful, but he proved them all wrong. Today, thousands of people work under him. But how did it all begin? How did an ordinary bookseller become the richest person in the world? Let's start the story in 1999, New York. We see Jeff, who is deep in thought in his office. Suddenly, his friend reminds him that the boss has scheduled a meeting, and he hasn't shown up yet. Jeff had been so engrossed in his work that he forgot about the meeting. He immediately leaves everything and rushes to the meeting room. Jeff holds the position of vice president in a prominent company, where his primary job is to find investors and persuade them to invest in the company so that it can make more profit. During the meeting, David addresses everyone and says that the business should expand, and we need to look into some online ideas, because a new thing called the internet has emerged. This is an opportunity we cannot miss. At this time, there was no YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. All of these came after the internet revolution. After the meeting, Jeff goes home, but after hearing about the internet, a passion to do something big ignites in his mind. He starts researching and finds out that online sales are increasing by 30,000% annually, much more than he expected. The question now was, how could he take advantage of this opportunity? After weeks of thinking, one day an idea suddenly strikes him: books. But what was this idea? This is not revealed to us just yet. The next day, Jeff goes straight to a library, where piles of books are stacked. He notices that the library closes at 10 p.m. Then an innovative idea comes to his mind. What if he creates a platform where people can read books at any time, from anywhere? How beneficial would that be? Jeff goes to his boss, David, and presents his new idea. He tells him that he wants to create a virtual bookstore, which will be open for only 2 hours every day, where millions of books can be read, and in the future, people will even be able to buy them online, all from the comfort of their homes. David expresses his dislike and says, "You are the vice president of a fast-growing company in America, your salary is in the millions, and you are talking about selling books. This is a pointless idea, forget it and think of something more conventional." Jeff, who was once full of enthusiasm, suddenly becomes disheartened. He silently returns home, and his wife, Mackenzie, notices his distress and asks him about it. Jeff tells her everything, how his boss rejected his idea outright, but he is sure that the future is about to change. If his boss had believed in it, the company would have made a huge profit. Mackenzie smiles and says, "I believe whatever you do, you will do it right. So you should start working on your idea." Jeff, in confusion, says, "But what about my job? If I start working on this, I will have to quit my job." Mackenzie looks into his eyes and replies, "If you truly believe you can turn this into reality, then quitting your job would be the right decision." Friends, if you are watching this video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Hearing this, Jeff becomes even more lost in thought. If he quits his job but fails to succeed, his entire career could be ruined. However, the truth is that those who doubt themselves can never move forward. This realization gives him the courage he needs, and he finally resigns from his job to pursue his dream. The first thing Jeff does is inform all his friends about his new venture. Some of them appreciate his ambition, but most mock him, questioning why he abandoned such a prestigious, high-paying job. Jeff understands that if he desires a Mercedes, he must distance himself from the company of those content with ordinary cars. With this mindset, he immerses himself in hard work. He begins reaching out to investors, convincing them that if they make a profit, he will ensure they receive double the return. Despite his efforts, only 2 investors trust him, contributing a combined total of just $50,000, which was a significantly small amount. Executing something grand within this budget seemed nearly impossible. As his last hope, he turns to his parents and informs them about quitting his job. He tells them that he dreams of building something substantial on his own. His parents silently retreat to their room. Jeff senses that he may have made the wrong decision, as nobody seems willing to believe in his vision. The next day, he prepares to return to New York. However, just as he is about to leave, his father stops him. Looking into Jeff's eyes, he sees unwavering confidence and says, "I have complete faith in you." Then, He hands over his entire life savings to Jeff, which felt nothing short of a blessing. Jeff's parents give him $300,000, advising him to use the money wisely and work diligently to turn his dream into reality. He then travels to Washington, where he meets a website developer named Shell. Jeff explains the type of website he envisions and the essential features he requires. Shell assures him that he will build the website within a few days. At that time, creating a website was akin to constructing a house, as it was a time-consuming process. However, there were a few skilled individuals who could do it efficiently. Jeff purchases a new house with a garage because he decides to set up his office there. Renting a commercial space would have consumed most of his budget. A few days later, once the garage is transformed into a workspace, another member joins the team, Paul. He is an expert web developer and also one of Jeff's close friends, which is why he willingly steps in to help. Now, everyone is fully engaged in their respective responsibilities. One day, while Mackenzie is drying her hair, the noise from the hair dryer distracts Jeff. Irritated, he scolds her, telling her not to do anything else while they are working and instead to go and rest. For several days, the entire team remains focused on their tasks. Eventually, one day, Jeff shares his vision with his team. He tells them that he wants to create the best and most user-friendly website in the world, where anyone can purchase books at any time regardless of whether it is summer, winter, or the rainy season. When people visit the website, they should see millions of book options readily available. Jeff further explains that the website should also offer a feature where customers can choose their preferred shipping option. Whether they want delivery in 3 days or 3 weeks, the choice should be theirs. Hearing this, Shell is astonished and remarks that running such an extensive system on a single website would not be feasible. Jeff realizes that due to high traffic, the website might crash. Therefore, developing a robust software system is essential. However, this would be an incredibly challenging task. At that time, creating an independent software was a monumental challenge, something only experts like Steve Jobs or Bill Gates could accomplish. But soon, another name was about to be added to that list, and that name was Jeff Bezos. Once again, he reaches out to his investors, trying to persuade them about how their investment could turn into a profitable venture. Yet, no one is willing to put their money into his idea. Despite repeatedly explaining his vision, nobody is convinced. As a result, he spends his entire day in his garage, completely engrossed in work. He neither cares about food nor engages in any conversations with his wife, Mackenzie. He has sacrificed every aspect of his life in pursuit of his dream. One day, he comes across an article mentioning that a book fair is about to take place in Miami. Various business figures and investors will be presenting their new ideas there. Without hesitation, he decides to attend and, when given the opportunity, he presents his plan before everyone. However, the audience laughs at him, dismissing his concept as impractical. They believe he is lost in futuristic fantasies rather than focusing on the present reality. As he prepares to leave, he unexpectedly encounters the CEO of Nobel and Drive, a company with hundreds of bookstores across the United States. This man is a highly successful businessman. Jeff assumes that he might take an interest in his idea. However, his hopes are shattered when the CEO bluntly tells him that his plan is purely theoretical and implementing it in reality is impossible. He even advises Jeff to steer clear of this field. Jeff senses that the CEO is deliberately trying to discourage him. It becomes evident that he has recognized the potential threat this idea could pose to his business in the future. After hearing all this, Jeff returns home disheartened. Mackenzie, who had been waiting for him, has fallen asleep by the time he arrives. The moment she sees him back, she immediately asks whether he managed to convince anyone. In a disappointed tone, he replies that no one showed any interest in his project. Everyone thinks he has lost his mind. Hearing this, Mackenzie tells him that he has become so consumed by his work that he has forgotten everything else, even speaking to her. At this, Jeff, in frustration, retorts that he is worried about finances. He argues that millions of dollars are at stake, yet she is only concerned about conversations. This leads to an intense argument between them. In anger, Jeff storms off to his office, where he spends the entire night. The next morning, when the team gathers, Jeff suggests that they should change their website's name. It should be something unique, a name so perfect that it never needs to be changed again. Shell reflects on this and states that the name should be something that ranks high in search engines and is easy for people to remember. Jeff begins to wonder if they have been making a mistake somewhere. He then declares that they must build an entirely new website, one that incorporates a human element. The interface should be simple, intuitive, and designed to enhance the customer's shopping experience. The most crucial factor is that the faster the shipping process, the greater the success. This is because American consumers lack the patience to wait. Jeff further states that they must also introduce a return policy. It should function similarly to a physical library, allowing customers to return or exchange a product if they are unsatisfied or if the item turns out to be defective. Following this, everyone begins working on the project. However, they are well aware that this endeavor will require considerable time. Later, Jeff approaches his wife, Mackenzie, and sincerely apologizes for his mistake. He realizes that his negligence has caused her distress. He admits that he has been deeply engrossed in work and only needs a little more time. Yet, he promises that once everything is complete, they will spend peaceful moments together. Mackenzie understands and agrees. On the other hand, as the company continues to grow, they start facing a lack of space. Paul suggests that they need additional tables to accommodate the system and other equipment. However, since Jeff currently lacks extra funds, he creatively repurposes his own home's doors, transforming them into makeshift tables. Friends, if you wish to achieve success, you must adopt a similar mindset. You need to find solutions on your own, overcome challenges, and push forward regardless of difficulties. A few days later, John, the CEO of Nobel and Drive, receives a call from a friend. The friend informs him about Jeff's idea, which he had heard people discussing. John does not initially react much to this news. However, the moment he hangs up the call, he immediately dials Jeff's number and invites him for a coffee meeting the next day. Upon hearing this, Jeff feels ecstatic. He assumes that John might be interested in investing in his venture. Before the meeting, Jeff is in the process of finalizing a permanent name for his company. During this time, his eyes fall upon the name Amazon, which is the largest rainforest in the world. He reflects that just as the Amazon is the world's biggest forest, he too aspires to establish the world's largest virtual bookstore. The next day, Jeff meets John. During their conversation, John directly offers him a $1 million deal. However, this is not an investment, it is an offer to purchase Jeff's entire concept. Listening to this, Jeff calmly responds, "Apologies, but I cannot sell it." John is taken aback by this response. However, Jeff remains steadfast and confidently adds, "The day my website goes live, one by one, all of your bookstores will shut down. And on that day, you will come to meet me again. Remember my words." These words strike John deeply, leaving him speechless. Without another word, he quietly departs. Upon returning to his office, Jeff gathers his team and shares the news that John had offered them a $1 million deal to acquire their idea. Hearing this, everyone is overwhelmed with joy. However, their happiness is short-lived when Jeff reveals that he has declined the offer. The moment they hear this, Shell becomes furious and exclaims, "How could you turn down such a massive sum? We have nothing at this moment. At the very least, this money could have helped us start something new." But Jeff's mind was filled with an unshakable determination. In an electrified tone, he passionately replies to Shell, "You are thinking about the present, but my vision is fixated on the future. I do not merely desire $1 billion. I want to create $1 billion in actual value through my own hard work and capability." John had realized that his business was on the verge of collapse. That is why he was willing to offer such a massive amount. However, instead of becoming opportunistic, Jeff decided to turn his dream into reality. During this time, he finalized the name of his company and printed it. That name was Amazon. Yes, my friends. The same Amazon that changed Jeff Bezos' destiny. The same Amazon that kept him at the top of the world's wealthiest individuals for 12 consecutive years. The same Amazon that surpassed Bill Gates and etched Jeff's name in history. But the story does not end here. It moves forward. A few days later, Jeff met with all the investors. He addressed their doubts and reassured them that their investments would not go to waste. Eventually, all investors agreed, and soon after, Amazon's website was officially launched. Within the first 3 weeks of its launch, Amazon successfully sold products across 5 states in the United States and 45 countries worldwide. By 2021, Amazon had set a record with $469 billion in sales. Due to this phenomenal success, in 2022, Jeff Bezos became the first person in history whose net worth exceeded $200 billion. His wife, Mackenzie, also became the 22nd richest woman in the world in 2022, with a net worth of $50 billion. In 2021, Amazon's market capitalization skyrocketed to $1.8 trillion, whereas Nobel and Barnes, John's company, was restricted to a mere $400 million. This was the moment when Jeff's words turned into reality. However, as Amazon's sales continued to soar, internal conflicts began to arise within the team. Shell started feeling that he also deserved a share in the company. But Jeff refused, as Shell was merely an employee, not a co-founder. Shell had already signed a legal agreement stating that he would not receive any ownership in the company. However, he could not accept this reality. Eventually, he resigned. Without hesitation, Jeff immediately hired a replacement, and Amazon continued to grow at an unstoppable pace. Finally, we witnessed the historic moment when Amazon received its first order, which was paid via credit card. That was the defining moment that immortalized Jeff Bezos in history. The people who once mocked him are now nowhere to be found. Nobody knows where they are. But if anyone wants to find Jeff Bezos, they need to check the list of the world's richest individuals, because that is exactly where he is today. This is what true success looks like. Success does not come overnight, my friends. He started by selling only books. Gradually, he began selling everything. And today, we all know where Amazon stands. If you want success, you must work hard for it. You must fight for it. Sometimes, you must even bow down before others. Right now, somewhere in America, Jeff Bezos is probably sitting in front of his computer, planning his next big move for the future. Because success is achieved only by those who make the right decisions at the right time and have unwavering faith in those decisions. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. See you in the next video.